Okay, this is math. This is Algebra 1. And I know a bunch of you have already said that, oh, I know all about algebra. I know everything that there is to know. If you do, then this is going to be a piece of cake for you. If you don't, well, hey, you're going to pick up some ideas over the next little while. So let's do a little bit of a quick introduction to what algebra really is. All right. Now, algebra, as a lot of math, came out of the Middle East about 825. And it came from a word, and I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Okay, and let me just move the recording thing here so you can see it. It came from the Arabic word saying al-jabir, which means more or less reunion of broken parts. And the reason they call that is because when you're doing math in algebra, you're basically taking two sides of equation and bringing them together. You're fixing them. So that's how algebra came upon its name. In fact, it turned to the Latin word, which is algebrae, and then it became algebra for the rest of the world. So it's not been around for a long time. I mean, it's only been around since about 825, as I said. But it's become the basis of an awful lot of the mathematics that we do day to day. And the reason is because it used nothing but variables. Now, we've used the word variables before in class, but we've used variables as a way to describe things we're not quite sure of when we're doing scientific experiments. When we're doing math, especially in algebra, variables refer to systems that are used to represent a system of numbers or a set of numbers. Okay? So when you talk about variables, a letter, in most cases, is what represents the entire set of numbers that it possibly could be. Let me give you an example. Let's take a look at a quick example here. Okay? Tina here, that's Tina right there. Tina here has won herself a big cash award on a game show. Okay? I'm going to take this away because I hate to have that stuff right in front of Tina's face. It's kind of disrespect. Okay, so Tina's won herself a big award. She can choose from her award. Either she can get, that's not a bad deal here, she can get $20 a week for 1 year, or $400 cash up front now, and then get $12 a week per year. What would you choose? Which one would end up getting you more money? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about this, and you can pause now if you want. Pause the video and try to figure out what would you do to come up with a formula to figure this out, and what would you do to find a formula that would figure that out. So pause the video now. Okay, did you figure it out? Well, let's see if we can come up with an idea. Okay, $20 a week. So a year has 52 weeks in it. So 20 times 52 is 1040, right? Does that make sense? If we got $400 up front plus 12 times 52, would it be more or less? Okay. Now this isn't pure algebra, but it gives you an idea of what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out a formula by which you can figure something out. Now, what happens if we change the amount of money that was here? Let's say we're not quite sure of the amount of money. X times 52 equals 1040. If you're trying to figure out how many months it would take, or how much money times every week it would take to get you to 1040, you would multiply that. Okay? In other words, it gives you a chance to figure out what the variable is. The idea is to try to figure out the variable. Here, let me give you an example. Here is a shape. Okay. We want to figure out what the area of that shape is. Well, to do it really is, you've got an algorithm. The algorithm is area is equal to B times H in this case, because that's B and that's H. And having the two letters back to back like this means you're multiplying them. Okay? So depending on what B and H change into, you get different numbers. All right? Now that's for area. What happens if we wanted to do perimeter? Well, we can do perimeter, and we'll write that here. We can do perimeter a little differently. You would do perimeter equals 2 times B plus H. So B and h, if you added them together, would give you the perimeter if you were only looking at these two sides. Multiply it by 2, and you would get the perimeter each time. Okay? In these formulas, b represents the length of the base, right? And h represents the height. Okay? And we can also use a variable to represent a number in an expression. For instance, we know that there are 100 centimeters, say, in 1 meter. Okay? So, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Okay? There are 2 times 100 centimeters in 2 meters. There are 3 times 100. Okay, you get the idea. And that's 3 meters. So if you want to write an expression for the number of centimeters in any number of meters, okay, we could say n times 100 centimeters is equal to n meters. Because this number and this number should be exactly the same. N is a variable. N represents any number we choose. Okay? And we can choose any number as a variable. The letters N and X are used a lot, but you can write anything else too. Right? Now here's the fun thing, if there is such a thing. N times 100 is written 100n. 100n is an algebraic expression. Get that so far? So you can see if BH is the multiple here, then n times 100 is 100n. We'll go over this in class just in case you don't get it, okay? And you can have any number of algebraic expressions. The one thing I want you to pick up from today is this. Variables are symbols that represent the sets of numbers, okay? And that you can write an algebraic expression to represent a set of numbers as well. All right? So that's number 1. We'll work on it some more tomorrow. Don't forget, you're going to need to have your notes, you're going to need to have your summary, and you're going to need to have your questions for tomorrow morning when you start class. All right? Thanks for watching the video tonight.